Oh, hello. Today I want to talk about my experience so far collecting Star Wars Shatterpoint miniatures, why I enjoy it, and what I think Kill Team could really learn from it. So, just to be super clear, this video isn't about list building. I've done a video about list building in Shatterpoint, right? I really would suggest going to watch that if you don't quite know what's going on, and then come back to look at this video. This is more about the mechanics of buying new miniatures and why I think it's really cool. It sounds like a strange one, but I really think there's something. I'm onto something here, and if you stay tuned right the way through to the end, you'll see how this relates back to Kill Team as well, because I promise it does. So, you start with your core set. And as I covered in my video where I talked about this core set compared to the Kill Team core sets, right? You get four squads, basically. Think fire teams, right? And your four squads can be combined together to make four strike teams, right? Your full army. Now, it's worth saying that these aren't fixed squads. You know, you can run Anakin with well, they have points values. Look at the list building thing, but the miniatures are interchangeable as well. You don't have to keep them as they are, so you could quite happily swap around like Ahsoka and Darth Maul there could swap. You could, and many people do, have observed that like the Mandalorian super commandos that are technically the evil ones actually work better with Bo-Katan and Ahsoka, so you swap them around, then just paint them a different colour. So you can move these things around. They're not fixed anyway. There's very little in the way of list building restrictions. Go and go and watch the list building video on the channel if you want to really understand the rules about what you can list build. This is a real miniatures first kind of choice, but effectively this makes 3 coherent lists. You definitely could make others. Major Tom's been trying to tell me that you would run Ahsoka, Rex, the clones, Ventress, Bo-Katan, and the Mandos. I mean, you could do that if you wanted to hurt your kind of the part of your brain that cares about the lore and background, I suppose. But these are the 3 obvious and coherent like ways if you can build a force out of that core box. And I've talked about this before because I've talked about the core boxes, right? So what I want to do now is imagining now in the real world. What happened here is that Helen and I had decided ahead of time, right, that she was going to get the Anakin squad and both the squads of Mandalorians out of the box straight away, and I was just getting the Ventress squad, right? Now, with that Ventress squad, my first expansion then is to pick up the Count Dooku box, right? So I'm assuming that's the thing I've decided I enjoyed the most. It was slightly preordained in my just 1 second. Sorry, the perils of recording at home during the holidays. So, as I was saying, you pick up the Count Dooku box, and then that lets you expand your list into one that's fully cohesive and all shares the one tag, right? The separatists, so you can have whole loads of synergies going on between these various characters. So far, so simple, right? You've bought the starter box, you've bought an expansion, and you just run in the squad from the starter box plus the squad in your expansion box unmodified. The fun really begins when you pick up a third box, right? So there's a third box that's an obvious buy for someone that's kind of building off the Separatist tag. And that's the General Grievous box, which is all Separatist units as well. And then I'm sitting and thinking about it, because this is where I'm at in the real world. This is the last box that I have purchased. I've built it. I've not painted it yet, but I have built it. And you're sitting there and looking at all the things that you can do. So I'm just going to go through this. Sorry, apologies for the car. I can't close the window. It's too bloody hot. So you got Count Dooku, Jango Fett, Magna Guard again, and then this time we're going to have General Grievous, Kalani, and the B1 battle droids. So what we've done here is we've taken the 5-point Kalani, replaced the 4-point Kraken that comes in the set, and we've downgraded the B2s that come with Grievous to the B1s that were already here with Ventress. Of course, that list is all well and good, and then what you could do is you could replace Jango with Kraken. I'm, honestly not sure at this point, because Django's really good, he's really solid, he's very mobile, he can kill things. whereas Kraken is giving you even more of that synergy with all of the other droids in the list. And I'm not sure which list is going to be better, and that's fun, right? The idea of trying both of those out, I'm really not sure. And then you can do the same thing. Well, what if you want to use these B2s that you've bought? Well, you can't quite do it with Dooku and Grievous, because Dooku brings 7, Grievous brings 8, and you don't want to drop Kalani, right? Because he really is the glue that holds the whole faction together. But what you could do is you run Ventress and Grievous, and then you can bring Django and the B2s, Kalani and the Magna Guard, or indeed Kraken and the B2s, Kalani and the Magna Guard, right? And so you've got this kind of flexible slot here. And then another thing you could do with this list, if you wanted to, you could swap the the Magna Guard for the B1s. Now, B1s are worse than Magna Guard. Magna Guard are generally regarded as really, really good and a little bit undercosted probably for what they do. But a thought in my brain is, because of how movement works, and I'm going to do a video on this in the future for all you kill teamers to explain the difference between, if you are thinking of picking up Shatterpoint. But because of how movement works in Shatterpoint, where it's front to back, I wonder if there isn't something to be gained in games as a bit of a gimmick of just being able to field, 5 things on that large base, because really there's not that many things on that large base in Shatterpoint. It's pretty well limited to these 5 bases in Separatists, plus I think there's the 2 Ewok bases in Rebels, and I think that's it. So I want to try that list out, right? I want to see if running B2s and B1s is cool, and I want to see B2s and B1s, and do I want Kraken or do I want Django, right? So I think that's all really, really interesting. And then where do I go from here? Well, in my brain, looking at the things that that are available, I then go, well, my favourite character is Count Dooku. But what if I really want to use those B2s? I could pick up the Cad Bane box, and indeed I have ordered this box because I wasn't going to. I was wait till I painted up I painted up the previous box, the General Grievous box, but then Chaos Cards are having a birthday sale, and Major Tom came into the Discord and was like, "Oh, look at all this stuff," and I'm like, "Well, fine, pick up the Cad Bane box, and then you can try, right? Cad Bane, Kalani and the B2s, Count Dooku, Kraken and the Magna Guard, and of course you can still swap Kraken for Django, Magna Guard for B1s, and all those other, I haven't bothered putting them all out there, all those other combinations, and you can try more things then. And it's really refreshing coming to Kill Team, where it's largely like you play the team or you play a different team, and there's often, for most teams in Kill Team, there's one right way to play the team, right? I'm just really enjoying all these different combinations, and it doesn't stop there. So if you have a look at the next slide, so you notice, those of you that are up on your Clone Wars, if you've watched all the Clone Wars stuff, you'll know that Savage Opress, Darth Maul's brother, for a while is in the employ of Count Dooku, right? So he has the Separatist tag. So if I was to pick up the Mother Talzin box to pick up the final thing, then I would own every model that had the Separatist tag. He has some great synergy, actually, with Count Dooku, because he has an ability to move up the board after Count Dooku. Count Dooku has an ability to move him up the board. They really can just move forwards together, and he's a real heavy melee hitter. So again, then you're almost building a trio of, because I don't think you ever want to play without Kalani, although you could drop Kalani and that opens up even more combinations of lists, right? Because I don't think you ever want to drop Kalani, you've then got these 3 other Separatist secondaries, so Savage, Django and Kraken, that you're kind of moving around and changing between depending on what you feel like doing. I think that's really cool, because it makes every game, it's a game and you're playing to win the game, but you're also, doing this thing of like continual like little changes and refinement and improvements to the list. I think that's pretty cool. And then having bought this box, right, and looking at all the other things that you've bought, we could actually then go back and do something totally different. So you can move away from Separatists, and we could do something off of the Dathmorian keyword, right? So Asajj Ventress is a Separatist, but she's also a Dathmorian, right? And then Lord Maul from the core box, if we bought that core box, if we had that Lord Maul still knocking around, this is his home as well, where he finds some synergy. So you could run that Mother Talzin box, and then I'd probably run it with Jango Fett and the Bounty Hunters to fill in, because there aren't there aren't 6 units in the game yet with this tag, so you can't run a list that's all that tag. Nice thing with the bounty hunters is they can have, if you want that synergy, you can spend a force to give them any tag that you want. You have to do that every turn, so it's not generally worth doing, but if you could see a really nice combination, it's something that you could do. And then Jango Fett's just a great kind of 4-point thing to slot in a list, and he doesn't need synergy to do his thing and to be powerful. So that's another sort of list idea that you could have just by virtue of having bought this box to get Savage to run in my Separatists. You could then run other things, right? And then the slightly last thing I haven't bought the Mother Taliesin box yet, but it's probably the next one that I will buy after I've painted Grievous's box and Cad Bane's box, as long as I'm good and wait till I've painted those things and don't misbehave, right? And then we've got the last idea that I had, so this is a bit sideways now. The Mandalorian. Right now, so this list has 2 different eras, but that is allowed as long as each squad is in the same era. And essentially what you will be doing is you could run Cad Bane with Jango and the Bounty Hunters, and you could run the Mandalorian box, and you could have an entire team that scans off the Bounty Hunters tag, right? Now, I mean, look, a couple of things. People might say, oh, but it's really not like you're running 2 squads in different eras, it doesn't make sense. Actually, Cad Bane and generic bounty hunters being around at the same time as the Mando, Grief Karga, and IG-11 isn't really a problem. Even though Cad Bane doesn't have an ear on the card, he totally could, because he literally shows up in The Mandalorian. The only one that doesn't make a lot of sense is Jango Fett. Now, you might be asking why I'm running Jango Fett here and playing a point down rather than running the secondary that comes in Cad Bane's box, who is a 5 cost. The secondary in Cad Bane's box is just like legendarily bad. So I'd probably run Jango Fett instead and play the point down, which you're allowed to do. So that's my vague thoughts of my journey with Shatterpoint Collection, where I am and where I foresee myself going. And, I've got other things to get excited about. So they've got regular previews, 2 of which pique my interest as things that I might want to pick up as well. So there's, towards the end of this year, we should be getting the We Don't Need Their Scum unit pack, which is literally just 4 secondaries, right? So that will be a great one where you could slot into this list if there's a 5-point secondary that comes that's and that fits more thematically than Jango Fett. You could slide in any of those there. That would be cool. But also back here in this thing of it will give you even more things that you could rotate into this slot if you wanted to, or perhaps even into this slot here in this list instead of the Jango in this Dathomirian list, or indeed you could finally prize Kalani out of my cold dead hands, and you could run some more interesting stuff there just for a change. So that's a really cool idea. Plus Bosk's, look at this, Bosk's really cool. And then for those of you that follow the Clone Wars, they're also doing another pure Separatist set, not till next year I don't think, but they're doing another pure Separatist set with Griff Tamsin and 2 Aqua Droids and stuff, so that looks really cool as well. And I'm getting this nice little collection of Separatists and other non-Imperial baddies. I know that Mando and Grief and IG-11 become heroes, like they go through their hero's journey. But if you go back and look at season 1 of The Mandalorian, which is like when this box is kind of set, like they're very morally grey guys, IG-11 is a single-minded robot that just wants to kill people and retrieve bounty. Grief Karga's a scuzzball, right? And the Mando starts off wanting to hand over the baby to the Imperial Remnant. So I think it will be a cool little list for a certain snapshot in time, right? So you're probably sitting here thinking, okay, Phil, I'm a kill teamer because most people that subscribe to your channel are, and I've sat politely through an entire presentation about the Shatterpoint models that you want to buy. What's my payoff for doing that? What's the point of the video? So first of all, thank you if you are in that boat for hanging on to this point, because I people watching is good. The point I want to make, the kind of wider kind of game design point that I want to make, is that I miss the ability to buy new things and make incremental changes when I'm playing Kill Team, right? So it's something that 40k definitely has, right? And all the mass battle games have it. You go and play a game and then you go, oh, I'll buy this character and I'll swap this character in and I'll do these other things and I'll do this, I'll do that. But Kill Team just doesn't have it. The only way to really change things up in Kill Team is to change to a different Kill Team, right? I know you can change operatives, but so often for most of the Kill Teams, right, you're looking at it, And you don't have to take that melter gun. You could take a flamer instead. And it's like, that's not interesting. That's not novel. That's just worse. That's not something I want to try out and test. It's cool. That's just worse. And part of it is characters in Shatterpoint are really complicated, and I will do a video later on where I go through the unit cards and how it works. But they don't have a straightforward like a strength and a ballistic skill and things like that you can compare. They have whole like a combat tree, and then they have expertise trees, and then they have abilities, and there's a whole lot more there that you are kind of comparing the whole package. To put it in Kill Team terms, what Shatterpoint doesn't have, like even your basic little like stormtroopers or clone troopers or battle droids or whatever they are, they have text on their cards. You don't have a guy whose thing is I have a plasma gun and that's his thing. Everybody has like special rules and things and bits that they're bringing. So it's much harder to, without playing loads of games, to look at two things in isolation and go, well, you'd always take this over this, because it's going to depend on what else you're doing, what scenario you want to play, and all those kinds of other things. So I do think there isn't really that kind of incremental choice within the one team. And where there is genuine choice, because the people will rightly say, like, there are some teams where you do have, like, Inquisition. Inquisition, definitely you can have your Inquisition and be like, okay, I want to mix it up. I'm going to go out and buy a box of Sisters of Silence, and I'm going to see how that goes. Or Thousand Suns, I want to mix it up. I'm going to out and go and buy a box of Zangors and see how that goes. So there are a couple of teams, like, I'm sure there's a couple more, that do have that thing where you can go and get an extra thing and mix it into your team and see how it goes. But it is the exception and not the rule, right? Where that's something that I didn't think I missed, right? But that collecting the Shatterpoint models has made me realise that I have missed that element of gameplay, which is in 40k and fantasy and all those big games, but it is conspicuously missing from Kill Team. Final thoughts. So someone called Nightfall, if he sat through a video that's predominantly about Shatterpoint, is probably screaming at the screen, points, the answer is screaming about points. I still don't think it is. I still don't want points. Because here's the thing. When you have a points cost and war gear, so when you're like paying points for a gun, plasma gun, melter gun, flamer, it becomes a maths puzzle to work out what's optimal, right? I much prefer Shatterpoint's slot system where you're looking at it and going, okay, well, to put it in Kill Team terms, imagine if you had a slot and you could take a medic or a demo guy, right? And it's not the war gear, it's not a gun, they're not even doing the same job. You've just got to pick medic or demo guy, right? And now imagine the medic and the demo guy were cool characters in their own right that were fun to collect and paint. And that's basically where it is. It's like it's the whole package. The bespoke little interchangeable characters on a slot system that you can move around, and you can't easily tell what's best, because there is no best, because they're just doing things differently, and it's what gels and what works with you, right? Rather than what we're so often doing, because it's one of the things, because Kill Team is a game about killing, right? You're constantly just looking for which gun is best, and you can work that out with maths, like which gun is best, and there's a few edge cases and a few situations. What Kill Team lacks, I guess, is that complexity. And there aren't really that many teams that make you genuinely have to choose between a medic and a comms and a demo guy, for example. Those things are all there, and you can generally have all of them. And generally, where you are making choices, it's between the guns, and that's the bit that's least interesting, can be mathed out. And if you brought back points, all you'd be doing is making that math more absolute, right? In my opinion. Let me know your thoughts as ever down in the comments. I much appreciate that. Thank you for watching. This is the last video that I'm recording in a massive bulk session of recording videos. So you may notice the last couple of videos I'm wearing this t-shirt or the light blue t-shirt, because I basically recorded most of the videos over 2 days. I'm now on holiday. If you're watching this, I'm now on holiday. I'm visiting my parents and my in-laws. So there's an off chance that some big Kill Team news has dropped. If they've previewed the new set or something, I might try and make a quick video on my phone in a garden, because that's what all the cool Kill Team creators are doing, if that happens. But if that hasn't happened, then I'll see you when I get back, and live streams will resume when I'm back, right? Which is, you've missed 2, but when you're watching this, I don't quite know where we are. But anyway, ask on the Discord if you're not sure when the next live stream is, and I'll let you know. All right, guys. See you when I do. Have a good one. Enjoy all your hobby that you're doing over the summer if you are hobbying. And if you're taking a break from hobby, spending time with the family, enjoy that as well. Okay, and the hobby will still be here when you get back. It's funny, some people, final thought, some people go, yeah, summer, fine, I can get all my painting done. And some people go, yeah, summer, I've got to go hang out on the beach and do summer things, so hobby takes a back seat. It's like, the needle moves. I think for everybody, the needle moves, either moves up or it moves down. Nobody just does a consistent amount of hobby over the summer. Let me know, actually, in the comments, just one final thing. Are you someone that hobbies more over the summer? I definitely am. Or are you someone that hobbies much less over the summer? Let me know, let me know, let me know. All right, see you guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye, 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 goodbye, bye, bye.